As the CEO of Arknights Aura Forming Slop, it is once more fallen to me to provide you with some more goods. So I shall reach into the agenda nights, and in the honor of ignoring the story to focus on some hype moments in Aura, today I bring you Aura Formers of all levels. From those who use the little screen time they have to ensure that Aura is formed, to those who have made a career out of ensuring everyone knows they got that shit on. And in case you want to put forward an Aura Former not mentioned here or in the first video, remember that if a character's hype moments in Aura are limited to just text, they have failed to pass the basic requirements to be considered. If your Aura Forming doesn't get you that pick for the gram, you must return to class and retake the test. Starting off small before making it into the big leagues, we've got someone I imagine many of you have forgotten. Allerdale, or as she is currently known, Milsker. Taking a small role in the Victoria Crisis, Siege's childhood friend has mastered the art of leeching aura off of more successful aura formers. In the CGs where she is minding her own business, she fails to aura form effectively. Like, I get it, your family home burnt down and your only remaining servant died. But if this was my glorious king Teresus, he would have made sure everyone could peep the fit. However, once you put her alongside the Steam Knight, she activates her leeching technique and begins to utilize the aura of Victoria's greatest soldier. We can't blame her for doing such a thing. Even Calcit, a veteran with over 10,000 years of aura forming experience, used this technique when burning down Casdell for the 40,000th time. As a child, Allerdale began to learn this technique, but only put it into full effect after she had betrayed Siege to the Dukes. With Siege facing down the Steam Knight in a doomed battle, Allerdale realized maybe killing the rightful heir to the throne was a bad idea, and using her art saved Siege by entombing herself and the Steam Knight. However, unlike when her home burnt down, this time she understood the assignment and locked in. She would be presumed dead after this, but no doubt her aura forming impressed the Steam Knight, and the two would group up for the remainder of the war. Allerdale even leeched the aura one last time as the Steam Knight passed away. Only time will tell us if she is alone from this experience, or if she will have to find another whose aura she can leech. Lapland has traded in her employment status so that she may become a full-time aura former. From crashing a truck into a courtroom to seeking temporary employment as a taxi driver, Lapland makes sure to make an impression wherever she goes. After all, how many taxi drivers do you know leave shadows of a wolf behind them? I'm assuming the answer to that question is none. Even when she actually has to do her job instead of just driving around Not Italy, she makes sure to pick up her passengers while aura forming on the hood of the car. Girl, it's raining and you have rock cancer. Please get an umbrella. And even in situations that are politically volatile between the government and the mafia, Lapland makes sure to inject herself so that she may be the center of attention. Even after almost causing a civil war with her antics, she does do some charity work and lend some aura to the bums that make up the Signori de Lupi. The only fraudulent beast lords, by the way. Could never be my GOAT emperor. Enduain is the angel of aura forming. My man put aura forming over God himself. But we are getting a little ahead of ourselves with that one. Enduain wasn't born a native of Laterano, but he felt the call of his fate from a young age. However, it was a disaster that led him to Laterano. Only his identity as a Sancta saved him. From that point on, his fate was broken. But despite that, during his time in Laterano, he would become the captain of a squad leading Mostima, Enduain, and Fiammetta. It was on a mission with these three that he would begin his aura forming journey. He would make his magnanimous return to Laterano by meeting with Enduain. Insane work considering he is the reason she is in that wheelchair. He would spend the rest of Guide Ahead preparing for his meeting with the Pope, during which he would of course attempt to kill him. Although I can't lie, even though this is Enduain Glaze, the Pope is matching him here aura for aura. Unfortunately, the Pope has an anti-aura forming technique prepared for such a situation, and reveals to him the truth of Laterano's fate. Laterano has no true god, just a supercomputer that lays down the law. The reveal that his fate is a lie mentally shatters him, and Fiammetta takes the opportunity to attempt to kill him. Barely surviving, Enduain leaves Laterano, with his motivation reignited by Fiammetta's hatred. If that was all, Enduain would not be on this list. Although a strong initial serving, it would not place him into the halls of this video. However, in the Master's Travels, he sets a new standard of horror farming. Returning to Laterano as part of the newly founded Shrine of Nurtury, Enduain seemingly puts his delinquent past behind him. However, as the event goes on, he notices inconsistencies with his memories and actions. He, however, holds on to this new fate provided for him by the matriarch and helps her build a nativity so that all of Terra may share the dream of Laterano. However, when he sees this child unable to mourn its mother's passing, Enduain rejects the dream. Taking a bomb and blowing up the Shrine of Nativity, just look at the CG. He fully expects to die during this, but he's going out with one final moment of horror farming. However, he locks in and is pulled from the rubble by one of his old followers. From here, he understands the purpose he must play in averting disaster. Taking Federico and Artoria into the heart of Laterano, he confronts the law itself alongside Federico and strikes down God. Brother looks at a false paradise and rejects it in favor of a flawed reality, and the event ends with him on his own terms, leaving Laterano behind and seeking to spread his own fate to those in need. He, and to his credit Federico, are reformed on their guard. That's Hall of Fame worthy activity, and almost the most impressive horror farming feat of its kind. However, there is another. You're gonna have to be a little more patient before we discuss capital H, capital I, capital M, him! So, before him, let's discuss a Chinese dragon. Chen has been the topic of many discussions recently, but rest assured that I will always be a Chen truther, till the day I die. The reason this heart still beats is the glazed Chen Arknights! She deserves more than any of your faves ever do. Also, I have stocks in salt mines, and her existence provides me with much needed sustenance on that front. Regardless, she is a dragon of Arknights, and as such, she is an expert in the horror farming field, being a match for Tallulah and Ablana in the horror farming game. She was introduced to us early in the main story and had to make sure to begin horror farming quickly. Her initial success was built upon killing Maisha, and while Amiya was more maxing, Chen was ensuring we could see the fit. After that, she paid this young girl to hand her a doll, to regain Amiya's sympathies after killing a child. Fact, Chen made up this backstory so Amiya would feel bad for her, all in the service of horror farming in the rain. Even after leaving Rhodes Island to face reunion alone, she made sure to horror farm while leaving her new friends to potentially die, doing whatever is necessary for the fit to be shown off. And thanks to having a fancy sword, Shi Zhao, Chen was able to further horror farm during Reunion's assault on Lungmen. Her next big moment of horror farming came after the destruction of the slums of Lungmen. Seeing the lengths they went to in order to rid Lungmen of the infected disgusted her, and she finally developed a moral compass and left the police force, facing off with fellow horror farmer Hoshigume before entering Chernobog alone to face down her long-lost sister. Chen would be unable to out-aura farm Tallulah and the Deathless Black Snake alone, but by combining her aura with Amiya's, Chen would rescue her sister from doom. With disaster in Lungmen averted, Chen was free to aura farm as she pleased. From taking time out of her busy schedule to reunite with Tallulah and Victoria, to setting herself up in Yan to help with the problems caused by the Swede. A Tuxedo Mask-esque figure, only appearing for as long as she's needed to remind her her story is not yet finished. All this culminating in the latest Swee event, where she receives her first and only altar to nothing but praise and cheers by all Arknights players. I am being disingenuous, of course. She has already been an altar. Unfortunately for Chen, this has placed her into generational aura debt. Having 2 altars is completely fine. The issue is she wastes one of them on a bum-ass swimsuit skin. As such, from now until the end of her days, she is forced to do all this aura farming just to try to overcome the death trap she's found herself in. And unfortunately, as is seen with her descendant in Endfield, the aura maxing did not work. The aura debt was truly generational. We've talked about a few individuals, so let's change things up a little and discuss groups of aura farmers. Starting with the Iberian Inquisition. Firstly, they might be the most stripped out group of characters in all of Arknights. There is not a single bad fit in the entire lineup. I will admit that not all of them are aura farmers, silver, but they do serve to enhance the aura of others, so in this case, it evens itself out. Let's start with Saint Carmen. Look at this man. The world is coming to an end, but he's making sure that unpaid intern in the back knows he got that shit on. He even takes time out of his day to make sure the young members of the Inquisition know that you gotta have that shit on when you kill those innocent civilians. Dario invested heavily into passing on all the aura forming techniques to Irene and displayed some of that skill when holding the Seaborn at bay in his final moments, quite literally dying standing up, for his watch only ends in death. His student Irene did not start off as a proficient aura former. She was short and chalant, and her lack of aura forming was exposed by Scotty, a veteran of the game. However, by the time of Dario's death, she had learned enough to step into the ring as an aura former in her own right. She is now still short but nonchalant. Jordy too came from humble beginnings as an unpaid intern of the Inquisition, and he has learned much from his time under Corman. Although he has much more growing left to do on his aura forming journey, he shows great talent in the field, and if IS-3 is to be believed, both Irene and Jordy will prove themselves capable aura formers in the future. Lastly, Anastasio, and I'm going to be honest, he's not really an aura former, he's just a psychopath. He does frame Mog Silver though, so he has that going for him. The next group we shall discuss is one near and dear to my heart, the Nurl family. Just look at the aura of those who pull up for them. If this is the aura of the help, you know how Nurl be doing too much. There are varying levels of competence within this family as well. Unfortunately, Wishglass has failed to appear in any CGs, so much like how her career as a knight ended, she leaves much to be desired on the aura forming front. Don't worry, baby girl, I believe in you. You will have one in the next event, and all Zofia tutors will be rewarded. Next one, a little bit higher on the totem pole, is Blemishine. Maria is by no definition a veteran of the game. In fact, her story is centered around being a rookie and in the shadow of her older sister. Despite that, she manages to aura form even when being beat down by her opponents, overcoming them through sheer grit and determination. And such virtues are rewarded by her older sister, Margaret, the definitive Nurl, the one and only Radiant Knight of Casimiras. She's aura forming so hard, even capitalism fears her existence. From her time as a competition knight to her triumphant return to Casimiras to defend her sister and her family's honor, she's making sure she shows up in style. Be she sharing a dance with her friends or battling for the major title, Nurl makes sure she always performs. However, even as the resident Nurl Glazer, there is one in the family more skilled than her. Mlynar, even as a capitalist dog, could still aura form with the best of them. He makes the act of reading a newspaper auriful. Truly devious work. Even when traveling Casimiras as a retired knight, he can ensure that only the most supreme of shots display him. Bro, we know you know the camera is there. You don't have to be doing all of this in a field. He even put down a rogue knight in style. And seeing what her uncle was doing, Nurl knew she could not allow herself to be outshone for long. During the Victoria crisis, she once more used Old Reliable, the pull-up technique, to assist Shining and Nightingale in their hour of need. Superb form on the superhero landing, by the way. Only time will tell what awaits the Nurl family, but one thing is for certain. They shall be forming aura when they appear. And the last group that I want to focus on is one that we all know and love. Rhodes Island's very own elite operators. Many of their members probably deserve their own entry, but I would feel bad leaving them out again. I won't mention all of them, but know that as they all appear in the CG on screen, that they all deserve to be mentioned. After all, mastering the group photo is not a talent to be underestimated. With that said though, I would like to take a moment of silence for all those elite operators who could not be in the CG. I am sure we all agree that we hope all of them are aura forming in that great aura forming competition in the sky. First up is Blaze, one of the elite operators we've known the longest and one who set the bar high. Although only appearing initially in chapter 5 and 6, she made sure her presence was known by jumping out of a helicopter to enter a fight. She even be aura forming on rooftops like she's Batman. And let's not forget that she can even pull up on kings to aura form. All this just to give the man a bowl of noodles is crazy work. Rose Montes learned well from Blaze, and despite her memory issues, no doubt she starts her journal with "you gotta aura form" every night. Patriot even gave her an aura lob thanks to his shield guard walking alongside her to take Tallulah down. And despite Rosemontis being filled with joy and whimsy, I am extremely biased towards my daughter, and I will not be deducting any marks for such activity. Logos is a veteran of the aura forming game, having been able to observe the aura forming master Teresus at a young age and learning from this experience. He is both tall and nonchalant, and utilizes this to remain mysterious and aloof. He is, however, more than capable of locking in when needed, aiding Amiya and the Doctor during most of their battles in Victoria. He is the man who stood firm against the sea of Sorka's suffering to allow Amiya the time needed to overcome the final challenge of Teresa. With Teresa mentioned, I figure I should give my GOAT another entry in the aura forming videos. Teresus was the crowning piece of the last video, and I stand by my GOAT being the greatest aura former in Arknights history. From pulling up to the Sea of Originium to facing down Rhodes Island one last time, my glorious king went out in the only way he knew how, by aura forming in the face of certain death. However, Teresus aura formed too close to the sun. Despite my best glaze, which trust me, I can still give him, there has been one who has challenged him for his throne. In Disassociative Recombination, Arknights' 15th chapter in the main story, the greatest aura former of today faced off with the greatest aura former in history. In what should be no surprise if you have eyes to look at this thumbnail, it's time for Priestess to take center stage. Having haunted the narrative for long enough, she is now ready to aura form on the entire cast. Her first challenge was none other than the GOAT, Teresus. He did not come to fight her, he came to deny God. And, despite being on her own turf, Teresus managed to overcome the creator of Originium and force her back to sleep following her awakening. Although technically a loss for Priestess, her short engagement with Teresus resulted in his death shortly after leaving the Originium Sea. Priestess Copers will claim it as a draw, but all those who know the Sorka's general understand that this is a complete war criminal victory. Unfortunately, he only delayed her awakening, and 3 years later, Priestess would return to aura form on Rhodes Island. Firstly, she had to flex on the pharmaceutical company by simply saving an infected child before they died, and providing that child with the ability to nullify oripathy. She would also reveal the truth of the universe to that child. After all, she had to take the opportunity to aura form in front of the grave of civilizations. She would then proceed to simply neutralize Rhodes Island. After all, they still use the software she created. And of course, she would have to show off the fit to all of Terra. Utilizing the ultimate pull-up technique, she reshaped the environment with Originium before appearing before the Doctor, Calcid, and Amiya. Like, look at this majestic ass pull-up. Impeccable form. Calcid, of course, had problems with the level of aura on display here, but as previously displayed by Teresus, she cannot hang with the best of them, and Priestess had to hit her with that devious disintegration. Amiya, of course, took exception to this, and Priestess had to show her there are genuinely levels to this Originium manipulation game by aura forming in the Originium present in Amiya's CG. And after fully establishing her supremacy, she sealed Rhodes Island within Originium, truly smoking that Rhodes Island pack. She even set in motion the events of the Master's travels, which allowed Enduain to aura form against his own god. She even had the kindness to only aura form a little by sealing herself, the Doctor, and Monster in a pocket dimension while the climax of that event happened. Truly, she is a kind aura forming god. However, despite the Priestess glaze, I am unwilling to give Priestess the final word in this video. That honor goes to another, Teresa's legacy, the leader of Rhodes Island and the king of the Sorkas. Amiya. She's come a long way from her humble beginnings. She's been through a lot, more than any girl should have to go through, and yet she persists. She was not saved from the disaster that took the lives of her family by the Doctor in order to be an aura former, but the time she was allowed to be a child was cut short by the actions of the Ghost of Babel. She wasn't meant to be there when the assassins came for Teresa, but she was afraid and wanted to be comforted by her mother. And although Teresa could shield the child from the assassin's daggers, she was forced to lay the curse of the Sorkas upon her. From there, Amiya's fate was sealed, but she took to her new life well. She has not formed her life around the concept of aura forming, but she has proven herself to be an impressive practitioner, from making sure she can hit action poses to mimicking the aura of a veteran. She is a brave warrior, and she can face down death as the Sorka's king. Even after all she has been through, she is tested by greater and greater threats and challenges, but despite the setbacks and defeats, she rises to her next challenge anyway, be it overcoming reunion, refusing to lay down the dream of Teresa, or battling against one who would see life on Terra trapped and stagnating. Amiya will march down the path laid before her, and should that mean she must aura farm on her foes, that is exactly what she will do. She might not be the greatest aura farmer Terra has ever seen, but it is through her that humanity will find the light through the darkness. And with the tone of my video rightfully disrupted by grounding it with a bit of seriousness right at the end, I bid you farewell. Shout out to the wonderful channel members. You are not quite a Teresus to my aura farming, but I love you anyway. Y'all, be good people, and I will see you in the next one. I don't know how many of you are watching the end of vid bit, but just know there is a Teresus video in the works. So there is no bit, I'm just giving you a little bit of a preview.